both of which I've now done. So properly, let me say welcome everyone to the weekly call. I hope, as I said earlier, you've had a good weekend. And it's Monday again already. How did that happen? Right, let me share my slides for a moment, which you should now see on your screens. So a reminder of our agenda for the call today. The sort of main topic we're going to focus on first is the DNS Hackathon. We mentioned in passing on the call a couple of weeks ago, but we're going to talk about in a little bit more detail today with, I think, was it Vesna from RIPE NCC and Denesh from DNS-OARC. We'll talk about that, I think, from what you said. Joanna from Netnod. Absolutely fine. So for reference, RIPE, NCC, Netnod and DNS-OARC are the three sort of partners behind the hackathon, as you'll hear in a moment. Having done that, we'll then just sort of touch on briefly the White House Executive Order on Cybersecurity, which came out last Thursday with some references to DNS-related topics. So I just highlight those, and then, as always, we'll sort of briefly run through some recent developments in the news, forthcoming events, etc., and time permitting, sort of pick up on any other business that anyone else So that's the plan, which we'll flex as necessary as we sort of work through the call. So with that in mind, let's kick off first then by starting on the to talk about the DNS Hackathon taking place in Stockholm in a couple of months. So I can't see my participant list. I don't think I can see. I think at the moment, Denesh, I can just see you on the call. Is that right?
Vesna is here as well. Community development is her tag.
Okay, cunningly disguised as community development. Fair enough. Right. In which case, I'll welcome both of you. Particularly welcome Vesna, as you've not been on before, but it's good to have you both on the call. Right, so the floor is yours. If you need me to share the slides from my device, I'm happy to do that, but you should be able to share your screen as well. So whichever's easiest for you. You are both muted at the moment, just so you know.
Denesh, do you want to be first and then I'll show the slides?
Oh, okay. Okay. So I don't have any slides. Vesna has them. I'll just do a quick intro. Basically, a year was it? It was a year ago, wasn't it, Vesna? Please correct me. It was about a year ago that that Netnod, RIPE NCC, and OARC got together to do a DNS hackathon. It was quite successful, and so it was thought that maybe we'll do another one. Anyway, Vesna is the hackathon's expert, and she does quite a lot of these in her role at RIPE NCC as well, and outside. So we are just happy to be able to bring this thing, because of course OARC has thought about doing this type of thing by itself, but it's always better having partners who have the same goals and the same aspirations in what is needed for community development, and especially within the DNS space. So I don't really have much else to say. It's in March, at the weekend just before the Netnod technical meeting. So if you are attending both, you will have to register for both separately. And over to you, Vesna.
Hi, thank you, Denesh. Yes, so the main call for today to action is that if you're interested, please register. We do have now the second round of applications open. We have accepted about 20 participants already, and we have space for another 10. So you could promote the call. I'm going to put a link later in the chat. And actually, the previous one was in 2023. So yes, technically 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago, approximately. It was just before the RIPE meeting in Rotterdam. I saw somebody mention that in the chat. And it was successful. It was very nice. It's very hard to quantify the results of a hackathon. It's mostly vibes, but there are of course like practical projects too. And we only have 2 days, and people who get there together don't really know each other beforehand. So it's a very short time to make something very serious. However, there was one project that continued later on the development, and they have presented their work on the subsequent RIPE meetings and also wrote about it on the RIPE Labs. So in that sense, it was successful. And then the other aspect is that the other, like the co-hosts, wanted to make the next event. So that's a sign of success too. Another characteristic of the upcoming one in Stockholm, 15th and 16th of March, is that it is in parallel, so at the same time as the IETF hackathon in Bangkok. So it both unfortunate and also deliberate decision to kind of cater to two different audiences, thinking that people who would go to Bangkok, they wouldn't not go just because of our event, and people who wouldn't go to Bangkok, maybe they would join us. So in the meantime, we were also thinking, can we do some kind of cooperation there? But the time zones are too different that we can't really have an overlap of any working time. So this hackathon is going to be a standalone event. I do have some slides prepared to talk about hackathons in general. And afterwards, we can talk about more specific DNS subjects and topics and projects. However, another kind of misconception about the hackathons is that we would know everything in advance. We don't, because of those, let's say 30 people who register and then we approve their participation, maybe there is 20 projects that they suggest. So like not all 30 people have a project, but 20 of them do. But at the most, we will work on 10 of those projects. And maybe not, of course, maybe not even all of those. And there might be somebody who just comes up with the idea by listening to the ideas of other people, and then there'll be the 11th one. So we don't really know what's going to happen at the hackathon. It is the charm of it. And it's a lot of structured chaos, let's say. So we have a lot of structures, as you will see now when I start sharing the slides. But within that structure, there is a lot of freedom and uncertainty, let's say, which brings a lot of creativity and innovation to the front, because we don't prescribe what people should be working on. Yeah. So I can share my slides and then see if you have. Do you see it?
We can see your inbox at the moment.
Oh, that's not the idea. Do you now this some kind of PDF on the full screen?
We're still seeing your inbox. Yeah, you need to select, I think, a different.
Yes, okay, I will stop sharing and then maybe minimize my inbox and then see what happens later. You're not supposed to look at my inbox. Just close your eyes if I share the wrong screen. How about now?
That's good.
Okay. So this is a generic introduction. Part of the hackathon is that we have a webinar like a week or so or 2 weeks beforehand for people to prepare in advance. Yeah, theoretically, because a lot of people don't show up, they can only come to the hackathon, but this is what we do before and then also at the beginning. So that's why we start with thanking everybody, the sponsors, the co-organizers, the participants and their family. And then we also have to kind of start with the explanation that our hackathons are different from the traditionally commercial events that come from venture capital, California, Silicon Valley kind of mindset. We are all working for the not-for-profit organizations, the co-organizers. And so our hackathons are not commercial. We don't give prizes to the projects. And we also don't ask everybody to sign an NDA because all the software is free software and open source software, so that there can be a continuation and the community can contribute later. And therefore, also our hackathons are not very competitive. So people are more focused on collaboration and cooperation rather than trying to win the prize. So this is because the RIPE NCC has been doing this since 2014. And these kind of values align with our organizational values. So it's about innovation, engagement, sharing our data, and adding the value to the community. And so personally, I like this format because, and the name of hackathon is just kind of connected with the hacking and hackers scene. So I participated in these kind of events outside of the work, and then I wanted to bring them as a tool for community building because this is my job. I'm a community builder. So bringing all these different people together, the network operators from RIPE, but then also software developers, activists, journalists, researchers, students, designers. Some of these are like less represented, so mostly it is network operators and software developers. But then we are putting extra effort in bringing these other input and the different skills and different people so that this creativity can be combined and then we can come up with unusual solutions. And of course, it's a lot of fun. So as I said, we don't really give monetary awards, but we do give symbolic awards, which are mostly stroopwafels. So those are the Dutch cookies, and everybody loves them. And so we try to give stroopwafels as an award to the winning teams. Mostly, I'm going back on this slide. Mostly those winners are just like a team that came up with the most innovative solution. But the last hackathon that we had, the Green Tech Hackathon, the jury rebelled and they didn't want to give any rewards. So basically, everybody got some kind of symbolic title of what was their category in which they were the best. And everybody got a chocolate. We ran out of stroopwafels. So these are a lot of events that we did before. You can see that it's mostly like network operations, IXPs, the measurement tools, because it started with the RIPE Atlas, our measurement tool. And then we had another DNS measurement hackathon in 2017, and then a lot of quantum internet for a few years. And the most recent one, which is not on these slides, is a Green Tech Hackathon. So when it comes to logistics, this is like people just have to bring their own equipment, and then traditionally also stickers for the laptops, because everybody loves laptop stickers. And then when you put like 30 people in the room and they're all geeks, they love to exchange these stickers. This is how the work goes. So we do it over 2 days. Sometimes they're during the week, sometimes they're during the weekend. And apparently somebody saw me as like looking at the schedule, and they were like, oh, this was made by a morning person, because of course we start on a 9 o'clock on a Saturday. But yeah, there is very limited time, and so we have to start early. And then in the morning we do a round of introduction, so everybody says like why are they there and which skills do they bring to the table, and then we have another round of introducing the projects, and then we split in little groups where people try to kind of mingle and talk to those who suggested the project, and then see if they want to belong to that team. So this team formation happens also in the morning around the coffee break time, and then we move the tables, or we go to small separate rooms. For every team, there is either a table or some secluded space, and then they start working. Until the evening, we have then a little kind of stand-up, a little review to see how far we are. And then after that, there is always a kind of a dinner or a visit to the brewery, or we order pizza, depending where we are. And then the next day we continue until the afternoon. Then there are presentations, and then final like feedback and awards. And often we visit the local hackerspace. So the drinks and food are included. So this is part of the expenses that the co-hosts have. So we don't give monetary rewards, but at least we feed people. So they code for pizza, basically. And in the regular slides, we show like who is there to help and who is there to give feedback and who can they ask questions. So then we mostly have like a chat room, and then some links where we share the notes and share the actual code. So mostly it is GitHub. That's it. And then it comes to the content. Well, it depends on the topic, but this is actually more about how does the work happen. And so the work happens in teams, and these teams they're self-created and self-moderated. And the most successful teams are the most diverse. So if you put 4 network operators in the team, that's not the best. So you should have some developers, some network operators, some researchers, some users who come with like open mind and fresh look at things. If we have designers, that's amazing. People who can do like front end development and so on. And so then they get together in the teams between 3 and 8. Individual work is possible, but it's boring. More than 8, it's like a lot of logistics for the actual mini team management. And then there has to be a name, either the name of the project or the name of the team. The cooler, the better. And then somebody has to give presentation. So that's also one of the roles. The final goal is to come up with not perfect working solution, but a prototype. And then to upload it to GitHub and to actually have slides. The slides are also part of the result, because this is a way how people can present it to the others. Either at the event itself or later when somebody's looking back at the hackathon that happened 10 years ago, you can still read those slides as a PDF on GitHub and see what actually happened. So what were they working on, and what was the final result? Why did they start working on it? Which problem were they trying to solve? What was the process? What did they learn? Which mistakes did they make? Who was doing it, and if there are any plans for the next time. So we also have a template for these slides to give to people. Most of them follow this. Some don't. They just show the running code and do the demo. But then it's wonderful, but then there is no documentation later. So personally, I'm trying to insist to get some kind of PDF after every project. And then the jury, which is mostly like the program committee, the same people who choose the participants, they review the presentations while the presentations are going on, give some feedback, and then choose some kind of winner, and then distribute stroopwafels. So we also insist on the RIPE code of conduct. And then we also offer some data sources, again, depending on the content or on the topic. And then, of course, we promote the continuity, as in where are they going to bring this project further. So either present it on, let's say, Netnod meeting or one of the next RIPE meetings, or DNS-OARC or IETF. So how can the continuity happen? This is where we list all these, and then there is sometimes a channel like a Mattermost or something where people stay in touch, but mostly after 6 months everybody is forgetting that there was an event, and then we close that channel, and then that's it.
Fantastic, thank you for that run through. And I see in the chat, I think lots of votes for chocolate and meatballs as prizes,
Good.
as it's Sweden.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up, actually, just a couple of things. So one thing is that I think I can mention who the PC are. The PC are the three hosts. So there's Johanna, Vesna, and myself. But the other people on it are Arife Vural, who, as of now, as of just a few weeks ago, works for Amazon. She was at Nominet until their recent cull, I guess, of staff. There's also Lehman, who everyone knows on this call, I presume, from Netnod. And there's also Samane, let me remember how to pronounce her surname, Tajali Tajali Zadehub. I guess that's correct, and she's from ICANN, and so she's the other PC member who and the committee together as the whole PC are the ones who are selecting who will be in the hackathon. The other thing is that it will take place at Netnod's offices in Solna, just north of the city centre. So even if you're staying in Solna, or even if you're staying in the centre of Stockholm, it's only a 10-minute maximum metro journey to there, and the metro station is actually just below the building, as Lehman told us the other day. So it's really easy getting around there, and public transport there is fairly cheap anyway. And the other thing was that I was going to say was that actually, if anyone is feeling, or anyone's company is feeling altruistic, then we are open to donations as sponsorship for this. You will not have a say basically in which way the hackathon goes. So we're hoping that you'll be altruistic in this if you are able to provide some funds to go towards the cost of running this. And I think that's it.
Yeah, I wanted to add that last time we had 5 sponsors who gave 2K each, so that was really helpful. And this time we did not secure any sponsorship yet. So yes, we are open to it, but because it's so late in the process, then indeed there won't be much wiggle way on what happens. But of course, the projects that you bring can be worked on. So any of the free software, open source tools that you want to work on are a fair game.
Well, so question from Josh in the chat, which is probably right on point, Josh. What do you get for your sponsorship? Do you get signage, publicity? So what's the return on investment for potential sponsors?
Yes. Yes, those things, signage, publicity, we will put it on the slides, we will put it on the final report later, and the web page, which is mostly like the RIPE Labs blog post. I'm going to send the link soon. And also on the t-shirts, if you become a sponsor soon enough, before we print the t-shirts, we might also be able to print your logo on the chocolates, if again, if you're on time. And the warm fuzzy feeling of supporting the DNS community.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, one more thing I just remembered was there is already a chat channel that we have set up on the OARC Mattermost. So basically, because it's the DNS Hackathon, we are hoping that anyone who just does join and isn't part of the OARC community yet, and I hope that all of you are already part of this. But if you're not, then sign up to the Mattermost channel, and if you are selected to be a part of the hackathon, you will be added to the hackathon channel, and then all the discussion will take place there, all the logistics stuff, everything. Of course, once the hackathon is over and you want to participate within OARC as a wider community member, then of course you're more than welcome to stay and talk to all the other experts who are on the Mattermost channel.
Yes, I see another question about the sponsorship details. You can ask me, but I think it's better if you ask the whole group. Danesh, can I share that email also
Yes.
in the chat? But I will also email you, David, and I will copy the same the group, which is Denesh, me, Johanna, Liman, and the rest. Yes, and there is a PDF. Maybe Johanna has that sponsorship PDF because Netnod is now a host and they are collecting the money, basically. So I will write down that we have to get back to Josh and to David.
Yeah, and if there's a PDF with general information on sponsorship, send that to me as well, if you could, and I'll share that with everyone that's on the mailing list.
Yeah.
So that goes a bit wider as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Fantastic. Anyone else got any other comments or questions? Doesn't look like it. I think that was, to be fair, very, very comprehensive as a explanation. I can see in the chat, Alexei sent a proposal in the first phase, hasn't seen a response yet. So does that mean it was rejected, or will there be responses after the second phase? And if you don't know that immediately,
it should have gone out today, but if not, then soon. We did email everybody by the 18th of December to say that we are a little bit late with responses, but yes, the responses should be coming out any moment. Alexis, sorry about that. It's not that your proposal was rejected, but we don't judge based on proposals, but like on the participants' motivation and skills and so on. Basically, almost everybody is accepted unless they come from very far away and they need travel support, which we cannot provide. And unless there is like a total mismatch of skills, which actually sometimes it does happen. Yeah, you should get an answer soon, but I'm going to check on that.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, I can't see Alexi's proposal in my email box in the DNS Hackathon thing. Alexi, it'd be good to know when you sent that in as well, so that we can then pinpoint exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I don't have my email here, but I think it was, I'm at home now, but I think it was in December. Maybe
Okay.
I'll just send it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think you said there's now a second sort of call for proposals. So again, if I've got the link to that, I'll share that with the mailing list after the call.
The link is just now in the chat. So it's the RIPE Labs article of announcing the hackathon, and that is still our main page for that, which includes another link to the registration, but I can also send that directly.
Okay, so I can see that in the chat. So I didn't realise that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. I'll share that with the mailing list after the call as well.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you both for that. As always, you're both welcome to stay on the call, particularly Denesh, as I'm about to talk about something DNS or specific in just a second. Or equally, if you've got busy diaries, you're welcome to disappear too. But thank you for that update. That's much appreciated. Okay, right. So let me reshare my slides, which oddly aren't appearing on my share list. Bear with me a second while I check why that is. Yeah, they're definitely there. me just try that again. Apologies. Here we are. Okay, so hopefully that's given you all a good understanding of the forthcoming hackathon in a couple of months' time. Right, so I was just briefly, I'm going to touch on one other OARC specific thing, which I saw on the OARC Mattermost channel yesterday. So I thought it was just worth highlighting. It was a message from Phil, who many of you on this call will know because it was on the call a couple of weeks ago, just highlighting a panel discussion on DNS best practices, which he wants to hold at the OARC meeting taking place early next month. On the 6th and 7th of February, and this particular panel will take place in Atlanta on the afternoon of the first day. That's the 6th, Thursday, the 6th of February, which is, as I say, it's a panel discussion on DNS best practices, and basically he's put out a call for both panelists and participants to talk about so best current practices for the DNS ecosystem, as you can see on the slide. And I think Phil touched on this on the call the other week. The intent is to identify sort of best practices from some of the different communities, be that, for example, the IETF, perhaps DNS-OPS, RIPE, the DNS working group, and other fora, and start to pull those together to have almost a library of best practices covering sort of all the key operational areas, and maybe identify some gaps that could be usefully addressed in the future. So as you can see, it's about sharing experiences, identifying this sort of library, starting an effort to really improve the sort of security and stability of the DNS operations. So I just wanted to highlight that message came out within the last couple of days, and there's a sort of call for anyone that's interested to get in touch with Phil, or I'm not sure. Dinesh, help me if you can. Is that Rebecca or is that somebody else? I don't recognise the surname.
Sorry, please repeat that.
So bottom of the slide, if you can see it.
That's Raffaele Somese. He's one of the PC members.
Okay. I'll see if I can get emails for those of you not on Mattermost. If I can get emails for each of them, I'll put those with a link to the recording after the call. So anyone that's interested, if you're not already planning to go to the OARC meeting, you can attend remotely, so you don't need to be there in person. So that's an option as well. And there's a reminder that it takes place the 2 days immediately after the next Netnod meeting at the same venue in Atlanta. Anyway, I just wanted to highlight that so you're aware. As I say, I'll put both Phil and Raphael's emails with sort of the recording, etc. And then anyone that wants to can reach out directly to either or both of them post-call. Okay, and then sort of complete change of topic. I'm guessing most of you will have picked up on the US executive order on cybersecurity that came out from the White House last Thursday. There are a couple of things which are specific to DNS, in particular to encrypted DNS, and both of which were time bound, and that was that contracts for new products should specify that support for encrypted DNS is required. So for any future purchases, but also any existing clients and servers that support those protocols should have that support enabled if it's not already, if they haven't already done so. As I say, both of those things are time bound, so that's going to, I think, drive more interest in encrypted DNS, both for the federal government, which is, if not the scope of that particular executive order, but no doubt within the wider sort of ecosystem and client base on the back of that. So I thought that was worth highlighting. And then, as you can see, and I won't go through all of these, there's a whole bunch of other content. It was quite a long executive order, which also touched on, for example, the use of end-to-end encryption in emails, in video conferencing. It referenced quantum computing and the need for post-quantum cryptography, requirement to migrate to TLS 1.3 or a successor protocol no later than the beginning of 2030. Etc. You can see various things on the side and a whole lot of other stuff besides. Again, it was in the weekly headlines this morning, which I will move directly onto. First one on this screen.
Sorry, a real quick question about the previous one. What does time bound mean?
So I haven't got the order itself in front of me, Josh. I think it was something like 100, it was either maybe 90 and 180 days respectively, I think. But again, I can add that to the notes afterwards, but it was certainly within the next 6 months for both of those to take effect. There was a review of capabilities, review of content, of contract text that had to happen, I think, within 90 days, and then the contract amendments to take place. It was either 120 or 180 days from now.
Okay, thank you.
Obviously, all of that presupposes that there aren't further executive orders that maybe augment, contradict that particular order. I say that because I'm told that there are going to be something like 200 executive orders coming out of the White House today or tomorrow. So that's the current executive order, just with that caveat, just on the off chance that anything supersedes it. But this seems to be a non-partisan sort of subject, so I'd personally be surprised if it does, but you never know. So as a link on this slide would take you through to a bit more detail, plus then subsequent links to the actual text of the executive order itself and some related commentary from, ironically, Josh, from Infoblox and others, which also came out last Thursday. Various other interesting bits and pieces in the headlines this week. So Domain Tools in a podcast, the CEO Tim Chen talking about who is RDAP and other DNS data and the implications of moving from WHOIS to RDAP, which is very much in the ICANN space from a standards point of view. But personally, I think that's a good thing, given that I think WHOIS data is of modest use currently, as it's not validated in most instances. So there'll be so you can catch up with Tim's thoughts on that podcast. Quite a good piece from Akamai, both an explainer on DNS, but then it goes on to talk about sort of different ways to mitigate against different types of attacks. So you may find that of interest. And then final one on this slide, you see AdGuard is now pre-installed on the latest ASUS routers. I think it's all of those that support Wi-Fi 7. It's not backwards compatible, so it won't be retrofitted to their existing router range, but for all their new ones. I'm not sure there's quite a few things also this week around malicious content, as you can see, so different bits and pieces. So a piece from Infoblox on how threat actors use the command and control. They use DNS for both command and control and also for data exfiltration, which is quite interesting. How for a MikroTik botnet uses misconfigured SPF records, so make sure that those are correct. A useful summary on some of the stuff over the holidays on keywords included in newly registered domains being used for malicious purposes, and so on. Just I mentioned the last one there. The sort of piece on MasterCard and how they'd had an error in one of their DNS records, which was resolving to an IP address which had been registered by apparently someone resident in Russia, and resolved to a IP address in Germany for a number of years before it was corrected. So it should have been pointed to Akamai, but there was, I think, one character wrong in the setting which routed it elsewhere. So lots of interesting stuff on the DNS in the news this week. I won't read through all of those. Hang on. Yeah, I'm not going to talk through these, but unsurprisingly, a lot of coverage in the tech press on TikTok and how to work around the ban. The ban was already impacting, how that had impacted traffic, and then subsequently that it has been paused pending possible changes from today after the inauguration of the new president. So I gather the incoming so regime indicated that they wanted to discuss it further before the ban was fully implemented. The reason it was being implemented so quickly was, I believe, that there was a lot of exposure was on the suppliers to TikTok, not on TikTok itself. So the likes of Oracle and Microsoft would have had significant financial penalties if they didn't cooperate with switching stuff off. So that's why TikTok took the decision to take it down in the US so rapidly. But again, that's all on hold at the moment. And then plenty of other stuff in the press as well that caught my eye. I won't go through any of these, but you can look through those at your leisure if they're of interest to you. Some in the policy space as well, also a few more tech specific, should you have the time to take a look at those. But the various things that caught my eye over the last week. And then just a reminder, we've got some deadlines coming up. So if you want to be part of this sort of digital technologies and capabilities expert panel, you've got till end of today to sort of get involved with the application process for that. That's for the European Commission. So the deadline, literally today, probably quite soon actually, as it'll be European time. And then you can see a few other things over the next 7 days. So vacancy for a global network initiative policy person. Apricot call for presentations later on. I think that might be next Monday, 27th, yes. And also if you're presenting at Netnod 93, deadline for slides next Monday as well. And then other deadlines continue over the next few weeks, but I'll come on to those as they become more imminent. A lot of things on over the next couple of months, as you can see. I won't go through these, but whether that's Eurodig related, OARC related, next ITF meeting not so far away in Bangkok, middle of March, as was mentioned earlier, inclusive of the sort of weekend hackathon on the 15th and 16th before the start of the meeting proper, and so on. So lots of different things, opportunities to meet either in person or remotely with others that share your interests. And then finally, I hadn't phoned up on a topic for the call next week. The week after, we may well be talking about DNS for all. I'm just being sort of finalising that. And then, as you can see, various other things on the agenda for the weeks after that. Am I not sharing slides? I think I am. Yes, I am. Sorry, I just saw Denesh's comment in the chat, so hopefully you can see the slides. Seems like some people can. Okay, so that's it from me. So I will stop sharing at that point. We've got, that was a rapid run through. So I wanted to see if there was time for anyone else wanted to come in with anything you particularly wanted to highlight. So I'll stop talking there and say, is there anything that's on anyone's mind, anything you want to sort of pick up on that we've covered already, or indeed anything else that you're up to that you think would be useful to mention? And if you do, put it in the chat if that's easiest, or raise your virtual hand, or just unmute and talk, whichever is best for you. And I'll give you a minute or two to think if there is anything. And just while we're waiting, I can see Vesna's put in the chat a call for presentations for the I think that's Southeastern Europe 13 event, which, if that's not on my list already, I'll add that. So thank you for that, and also for Southeastern and Europe RIPE meeting coming up in April in Sofia. So I'll add that to the list as well. So thank you for putting that in the chat, Vesna. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else typing at the moment. I can't see any hands raised, and I don't think anyone's unmuted. So I'll assume not. So, well, look, in that case, hopefully some of you are inspired. Oh, hang on, I see something else in the chat, I think. I'm not, Alexi, grabbing events from the NCSRC org calendar, but I will happily take a look at that and see if there's anything on there that I haven't noted. So thanks for the reference to that. Okay, well, as I say, I hope that was useful. I hope some of you were inspired to take part in the DNS Hackathon in Stockholm in the middle of March. If you're not heading off to the ITF meeting in Bangkok, it'd be an excellent other thing to do. Possibly not quite the same weather, but I'm sure it'd be a fabulous thing to do in any case. And hopefully there's maybe one or two would-be sponsors that will engage with the programme committee post-call as well. So with that in mind, thanks everyone for your time, much appreciated. Thank you particularly for Vesna and Denesh for giving us that update on the hackathon. Have a fantastic week, everyone, and look forward to catching up same time next week. So see you all there. Bye all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.